Our news is brought to you by Alive.
Coming up tonight, the Foreign Affairs Minister condemns the Russian attack on Ukraine. This as an Esso dealer warns of higher prices at the pumps. The F&M deputy says perceived arrogance led to the party's defeat. And the TSA's permanent pre-check launched at LPIA. Welcome to our news. I'm Megan Shepard. Thank you so much for tuning in. Bahamians can expect higher prices at the pumps amid Russia's attack on Ukraine. One Esso dealer predicted consumers could pay $6 per gallon. Sharika Johnson has our top story.
Russia's invasion of Ukraine may cause gas prices to skyrocket, according to Paul Hepburn, a proprietor of Esso gas station, who warned consumers to expect gas prices to hit $6 per gallon.
It's only going up and up. And if you notice in the newspaper, yes, there was talk about $6 a gallon. That is real, people.
Hepburn suggests consumers keep their gas tanks full, as they could feel the increase in fuel prices within the next month.
It may not last long, but we don't know. But it's coming.
Russia is recognized as the world's second largest oil producer, and its attack on Ukraine caused turbulence in the financial markets. Fuel increased to $105 a barrel. This after experts say there was a rise in more than 8% on the international markets.
Keep in mind, Russia, 10% of the fuel that the world uses comes from there. So you're going to have a reduction right there. And now we have to deal with the fuel from the rest around the world. So it increases demand.
For our news, I'm Sharika Johnson.
Minister of Foreign Affairs Fred Mitchell slamming the Russian invasion of Ukraine, saying the geopolitical and economic fallout from the conflict will be felt around the world. Jared Higgs reports.
The invasion of Ukraine by the Russian Federation and led by its president Vladimir Putin is wrong, unlawful, and should end and be reversed.
On Thursday morning, Russian troops launched a wide-ranging attack on Ukraine, with Russian President Vladimir Putin ignoring condemnation and sanctions and warning that any country that interfered would be subject to consequences you have never seen. Mitchell condemned the attack by Russia, saying it comes at a time when countries are trying to recover from the economic downturn brought on by the COVID-19 pandemic.
You say to yourself that we've had a good run so far trying to recover from this pandemic. And just at the point where the world seems to be getting back on its feet, one of the actors goes and does something which disrupts the economy, the world order.
The invasion, which saw tensions building up for weeks, caused trouble on the ground and in the financial markets too. Oil surged to $105 per barrel for the first time since 2014, and experts predict that prices could increase further.
For example, they're predicting that the price of oil, for example, will be sky high. And right now they're predicting in the springtime in this country, $8 a gallon for gasoline. So this just does not make any sense, whether geopolitically or economically.
Experts also say the price of wheat could increase significantly, with Russia and Ukraine accounting for a quarter of the world's supply. And with the world lined up on one side or the next, Mitchell says it is important that the Bahamas supports its allies and friends. Several CARICOM leaders have also condemned Russia's actions, and a joint statement is forthcoming, according to Mitchell.
Let us hope that world peace ultimately prevails.
Reporting for our news, I'm Jared Higgs.
Meantime, 2 years after Hurricane Dorian devastated Abaco and the surrounding Keys, the Davis administration broke ground today on the affordable Abaco housing project. Prime Minister Philip Davis said the previous government partially built 5 of the 53 homes promised in the Central Pines subdivision. He revealed his government is moving that responsibility from the Disaster Reconstruction Authority to the Ministry of Housing.
We discovered that not only were homes being built at a snail's pace, but plans had been redeveloped so that multiple homes would occupy a single lot. And the materials to build did not live up to the quality and style of the neighborhood. There were understandable concerns that this approach would lead to a devaluation of homes and lots in the subdivision. We could not allow this policy to continue.
Davis said his government will work with local contractors to build nearly 50 homes.
Our partnership with local small contractors will lead to the building of 48 homes in this subdivision, consistent with the standards envisioned for this neighborhood, while also being offered at a relatively low cost. We will create opportunities for local contractors through public-private partnerships while providing quality, affordable housing to dozens of families.
A perception of arrogance got the Free National Movement booted out of office. This according to outgoing FNM Deputy Leader Peter Turnquist, who addressed hundreds of party supporters on night one of the FNM's National Convention. Our Jasmine Brown is back at the convention hall for the second straight night. Good evening, Jasmine.
That's right, Megan. Turnquist has remained deputy leader of the party at least until tomorrow's elections. However, he's remained pretty much out of the limelight. That is until he took the stage last night.
We were not voted out because of lack of good governance, lack of confidence, but because we allowed the perception of arrogance to once again be painted on us as reality, and that perception stuck.
It was one of several points Turnquist made in his final speech as deputy leader of the party. Turnquist, who did not run in the last election and is not seeking re-election as deputy leader, spoke to the convention hall that was only half filled with party supporters. The FNM was swept out of office last September, winning only 7 of the 39 seats in Parliament. When he stood down as party leader last year, Killarney MP Dr. Hubert Minnis asked members of the FNM to forgive him for any mistakes he made. Turnquist told party members to never forget the lessons they've learned.
We must remember not to leave our people behind again, as we tend to do in our haste to progress our national development goals and create opportunity for all. We must hear and consider the disappointments and hopes of our people as we deliberate, keeping them front and center in our thoughts while crafting policies.
In addition to detailing what he feels the party needs to get back on track, Turnquist also praised the work of the former Minnis administration. He pointed to initiatives he said helped Bahamians during the COVID-19 pandemic, the passage of fiscal responsibility legislation, and advancing educational opportunities for many. He says despite the good work of the Minnis government, the Davis administration is already walking back some of that progress.
We must ensure that the temptation to disenfranchise Bahamians because of their views and political affiliations are exposed and condemned and challenged in court if necessary. We must call them out on their attempts to roll back 4 years of good work and progress.
Now, in addition to having nightly sessions, the party's convention also includes daytime sessions, and they did have one today. Our Berthany McDermott has that angle covered. Berthany.
Thanks, Jasmine. Well, day 2 of the FNM's National Convention got underway as members were locked in discussions as they sought to make amendments to the party's constitution.
Delegates were locked in closed discussions for hours looking to bring changes to the way the party is governed. However, party insiders told Our News that discussions sometimes got heated over certain proposed amendments. Convention Committee member Michael Barnett Ellis explains the point of contention.
Members of the party who publicly endorse a candidate for another party, obviously, no bueno. And so that amendment passed, that if you publicly endorse a member of another party or a candidate for another party, that you're deemed to have resigned for the party. But one of the other important things that was discussed, that if you wanted to come back to the FNM, we welcome you with open arms.
Barnett Ellis added that this rule also applies to those FNM members who choose to run in an election as an independent or for another party. As reporters waited on the outside, some FNM supporters were seen leaving the room visibly upset, but the newly minted senator said it was expected.
We love our party. We love our party, and we, want so badly for it to succeed. And so when you're having those discussions, people are bound to get passionate. I think we had some very healthy healthy discussions, because often you're talking about something and it leads to something else, and somebody is able to share their views with relation to that topic. And it's also just cathartic to get those feelings out and finally say in a venue where you have 400 plus delegates, this is how I feel about this, and this should not be allowed, and this is wrong.
Earlier this month, convention co-chair Ethan Adderley described the selection of a new set of leaders along with the newly ratified Constitution as a major overhaul. According to Barnett Ellis, amendments were also made to the youth arm and the number of meritorious council members.
Requiring that there are more delegates under 30 is probably a better way to describe that. One of the things we've also done is increase the number of meritorious council members. So those are persons who are over 55 and they have been members of the party for over 20 years. We've increased the amount of MCMs. Right now the cap is 100, and so we've raised the cap to 200.
Thank you, Berthany. While 4 men were appointed as Bahamas consuls general in cities across the United States. Anthony Moss, former MP for Exuma and Ragged Island, was appointed to serve in Atlanta, while Leroy Major, a banking and security professional, will serve in New York City. Patrick Adderley, who has more than 15 years' experience in foreign affairs, was appointed to serve in Washington, D.C. And Kurt Hollingsworth, a noted educator and a PLP candidate for Marco City in the 2022 election, will serve in Miami. They were all officially announced by Deputy Prime Minister Chester Cooper.
They're charged with expanding the outreach to Bahamians overseas. They're also charged with assisting in the growth and development and the brand and the reputation of our country. And in due course, hopefully we will have a greater opportunity to speak with the potential of assisting the minister responsible for investments in terms of growing the book of business for the Bahamas.
Cloudy conditions tonight. Meteorologist Greg Thompson joins us with a first look at weather. Good evening, Greg.
Thanks, Megan, and welcome everybody for our first look at weather, brought to you tonight by Ports International, trusted medical supplies for a better quality of life. Another nice evening outside our studios with just a few clouds. We call it partly cloudy skies. 74 degrees is our current temperature. Wind still a little brisk out there, east-northeast at 10 miles per hour, and your field slight temperature at 72. Satellite view, ridge of high pressure continuing to dominate our weather. Breezy and sunny conditions across the islands today, with some patchy clouds moving across the area. A few small showers in those clouds, but those breezy conditions will continue tonight through tomorrow. So looking at some comfortable conditions throughout the rest of the evening. That's your first look at weather. Your extended forecast is still to come.
Still to come, a former F&M leader says he will vote for Michael Pintard's pick in tomorrow's party election. And a new senator accuses government of flip-flopping on the issue of marital rape. Find out more after this break.
Welcome to our news and thanks for joining us. Topping news tonight.
COVID-19 remains a serious threat.
Coronavirus COVID-19 has disrupted our economy, tourism industry, educational system, and put our healthcare facilities and professionals on high alert. Are you prepared? Do you have all the facts? Stay tuned to this network for the very latest news and information on this global pandemic.
You're watching our news. Welcome back. Tourism and U.S. officials celebrating the launch of the TSA PreCheck program. This is the first time the program is being implemented outside of the United States.
And now, there is only one TSA PreCheck lane outside of the United States, here in Nassau, Bahamas.
Transportation Regional Director of International Operations Karen Hanlon says the launch of the TSA PreCheck at LPIA is the culmination of years of collaboration between the United States and the Bahamas governments. Hanlon shares what could be next for TSA.
TSA is testing a touchless TSA PreCheck solution, which will incorporate biometrics and allow trusted travelers in TSA PreCheck lanes to verify their identities using only their faces and no physical ID or boarding pass required.
Deputy Prime Minister Chester Cooper boasting of recovering tourism numbers, not only in New Providence but throughout the country. He says with the addition of TSA PreCheck, he is optimistic about the continued rebound of the tourism industry.
As we fast forward to 2021, we will discover that between January to December, the Bahamas received 877,000 stopovers. That's up 93.6 compared to 2020, with Nassau Paradise Island accounting for some 652,000. Contextually speaking, some 94% of stopover visitors in 2021 originated from the United States. These numbers do not only speak to the pent-up demand for our destination, the resilience of our product, but more so speaks clearly about the strength of the United States as our key source market.
As the F&M looks to chart a new way forward with a new leadership team, former party leader Tommy Turnquest says he will support F&M leader Michael Pintard's picks in tomorrow's party elections.
I've worked with Michael for 30 years. I know him well. He first voted for me in 1987 in the Oaksville constituency before it became Mount Moriah. I'm going to vote for who he tells me to vote for.
Turnquest said so far he believes Pintard is doing a good job in rebuilding the F&M.
I think the party and the new leader is doing an excellent job. I think that, it's critical to understand the process and the logistical aspect in which the party should go through. There's no election now, no general election now. This is all internal. This is all to now regroup and regain your base.
Free National Movement Senator Michaela Ellis accusing the Davis administration of sending mixed messages on the issues of gender-based violence and marital rape.
Unfortunately, we've received confusing messages from this brand new government on the issue of marital rape and gender-based violence. The President of the Senate issued a clarion call to take a zero-tolerance approach to gender-based violence. But the Minister of Social Services has indicated that there's a draft bill that doesn't specifically address marital rape, but it's all-inclusive. The Minister of Social Services, when he was asked about it, he refused to say whether he thought marital rape was wrong or not. He did not want his opinion to cloud the discussion.
Now, earlier this week, Prime Minister Philip Davis remained vague when asked if his government will criminalize marital rape. He said the legislation will be tabled and enacted in accordance with recommendations made during a recent law review forum, as long as they are deemed appropriate by Cabinet. Ellis says it is also sad the matter was not addressed by former Minnis administration.
The current definition of rape gives the impression that in the Bahamas, we believe that women, wives, do not deserve to have control over their bodies. They don't have a fundamental right to say no. I hope this is untrue. Bahamian women are equal to men in duties and obligations, and we cannot accept in 2022 distinctions between sexes, which, quite frankly, most countries have already done away with. Women are entitled to equal protection under the law.
Up next, the national basketball team headed to the DR. The details when our news returns.
Welcome to our news and thanks for joining us. Topping news tonight.
COVID-19 remains a serious threat.
Coronavirus COVID-19 has disrupted our economy, tourism industry, educational system, and put our healthcare facilities and professionals on high alert. Are you prepared? Do you have all the facts? Stay tuned to this network for the very latest news and information on this global pandemic.
This is our news. Welcome back. The national basketball team set for competition in the Dominican Republic. Marcellus Hall has the details tonight in sports.
All right, thanks a lot, Megan. Welcome to our sports, everybody. I'm Marcellus Hall. Our men's national basketball team, they are currently in the Dominican Republic, getting set to play for the World Cup qualifiers down there. It's one of the windows that are going to give the team a chance to qualify not only for that, but for the Olympics in the near future. Let's take a look and see exactly how they're all set up moving into competition. Our men's national basketball team currently in Santo Domingo of the Dominican Republic. The team now set for the upcoming window for the 2023 World Cup qualifiers. Named to the squad, Robert Joseph, Dejan Wildgoose, Rashad Davis, John Roddy Cadeau, Sebastian Gray, Michael Thompson Jr., Travis Munnings, Willis Mackey Jr., Tavario Miller, and Danrad Chicken Knowles. Head coach of the squad, Moses Johnson Jr., assisted by John Mark Nutt, Steve Barnes, and team manager Alvaro Kemp. Head of delegation is Rodney Wilson with the athletic trainer Alicia Green. Bahamas will take on USVI on February 26th and then the Dominican Republic on February 27th. As it is the first practice yesterday, Moses Johnson pretty pleased about what he's seen and the team's mindset.
I think we had a good practice today. We're starting to build on some of the stuff that we'll be executing on Saturday and Sunday. You know, the guys are enthusiastic. They gave a great effort out there. They're in high spirits, and you know they're starting to synergize, which is important. So we have 4 days. It's going to be a short window, but we're looking forward to the challenge, and I'm sure we're going to be ready to compete on Saturday.
On some other news, this time coming in from baseball, well wishes and family gathering at the JBLN Field of Dreams located at St. Andrews, paying their respects to former Commissioner Jeff Aubrey, who passed away earlier this week. Now, Aubrey, who is a longtime patron of the games and also one of the co-founders of JBLN, was honored and paid respect to by former players, administrators, and, of course, coaches of the association. Well wishes, as well as some of his co-employees at the Island Wholesale Limited Company, all coming together and saying their words of farewell to a man who will be greatly missed in the sport of baseball. And that is your look at sports for you here on this Thursday. Don't forget the locker room tomorrow, coming up here on RTV, 6:30 tomorrow evening. Lock it in your dials. I'm sure it'll be quite interesting, I promise you. I'm Marcellus Hall. Back to you, Megan.
What conditions can we expect this weekend? Well, Greg has the answers right after this.
Welcome to our news and thanks for joining us. Topping news tonight.
COVID-19 remains a serious threat.
Coronavirus COVID-19 has disrupted our economy, tourism industry, educational system, and put our healthcare facilities and professionals on high alert. Are you prepared? Do you have all the facts? Stay tuned to this network for the very latest news and information on this global pandemic.
Welcome back to our news. Nothing but sunshine heading into the weekend. Greg is back with our extended weather forecast.
Thanks again, Megan, and welcome back, everybody, for our second look at weather. That high-pressure ridge remains a dominant weather feature across the area that's continuing to generate some breezy conditions, mostly stable conditions, as a matter of fact, across the area. Some patchy clouds moving across, some small showers, and those are strong northeast to easterly winds. We expect this high to slide out towards the east over the next 24 to 48 hours, and that will pave the way for a frontal boundary that's going to be taking shape across the southeastern United States. Should get in here late into Sunday into Monday, so we're looking at some nice conditions at least for the next couple of days before things start to change. Boating forecast for all areas tonight through tomorrow. Your winds will stay out of the northeast to east at 15 to 20 knots. Breezy at times, small craft caution in effect. Your seas very rough, 4 to 7 feet over the ocean. Tide will be low at 7:54 tonight. Here's a look now at your national forecast. A look at your extended forecast through next Thursday. Breezy conditions expected for the next couple of days, but we do expect nice weekend. Back to you, Megan.
Thank you so much for joining us for our news tonight. On behalf of the entire team, I'm Megan Shepard. As a reminder, tune into live coverage on the F&M convention on cable channel 205. Have a wonderful evening.